President William Samoei Ruto is using the dead cats idea to do his politics. Now, what is this dead cats idea or dead cats philosophy? I will explain it to you. Now, this is usually referred in the context of politics and media. It is actually used to shape perception and public management. Not actually a philosophy, it is kind of a metaphor for a tactic designed to change focus of a conversation. Now, what is it? The idea comes from a quote, and I want to read it verbatim. It was from a British politician known as Linton Crosby. Now, he says, if you want to distract people from a difficult topic, throw a dead cat on the table. People will talk about the dead cat, not the problem. Up to that point, I hope you've gotten my point. So, in simple terms, it is a very deliberate act introducing something shocking or controversial to redirect attention away from an issue you don't want people to focus on. How does this work? It is divided into 4 categories. First is identifying the problem, where the problem arises. It is you or the side in which you are is facing criticism, a scandal or a tricky question, but you want to avoid it. Now, number 2, the dead cat is thrown. Introducing a shocking story, statement, a controversial kind of thing or outrageously something that will immediately spark attention and people will be talking about it. Now, public focus shift. People start discussing about the dead cat instead of the original problem. And lastly, now your issue loses promises. Now, the original issue in which these people were focusing on is now put under the carpet. Not that it's dead, but now the focus is shifted. Examples of this is when a politician either is facing a backlash, might suddenly make a bold or divisive statement to dominate the headlines. Now, the key points one should come out with this place is 1, a manipulative communication tactic often criticized for being dishonest or distracting, but it's effective in media communication environments. So one thing you have to know, the dead cat's philosophy or the metaphor cannot be used without the media. Now, politics has to be there. The media has to be there, whether it's the traditional media, the newspapers, the TVs, or even social media, the digital communication, now that we are in this era. Now, in Kenya, whenever President William Samoei Ruto signs a controversial or heavily debated bill, the public and media often scrutinizes it, and a well-thought criticism along it is always provided. But the impact on taxes, government spending, or public flows are always highlighted. So, in retaliation, soft kind of retaliation, what does the government do? Now, on the attention which is negative on the bill or on Ruto's public policies, his team or political allies could use a dead cat strategy to distract the public. You know, now we have bloggers, Akina Dennis Itumbi, you know them, yeah? Now, 1, the problem, a bill is seen as an unpopular, like one increasing taxes or rising fuel prices. Now, citizens and media focus on the backlash. 2, the dead cat is thrown. Remember we said the 4 stages. Now, Ruto could suddenly announce a flashy initiative like a new development project, construction of a good road, a foreign investment deal, bold political statement, and related to the criticism. So, the public focus will shift onto that. Headlines will begin talking about the exciting announcement rather than the unpopular bill. Now, what are the results? The original criticism of the bill will lose momentum and people will no longer be talking about it. Now, putting it to a realistic perspective, suppose President Ruto signs a bill of increasing certain taxes. Instead of engaging in detailed debate over the bill, the government will announce a free laptops program initiatives for students or a major road construction project. Now, media coverage and public discussion will shift into a good news overshadowing the criticism. That is how this regime works. Now, the key point that one should come out with this place is that in this context, the dead cat's philosophy is about media and public perception management. Have that in mind. It doesn't make the original news disappear, but it distracts and reframes the conversation into something else. The conversation is strategically timed around controversial government actions like signing controversial bills. Now, the dead cat's philosophy is a political strategy to distract public attention from controversial issues by introducing shocking or attention-grabbing news. Got it? Now, let's go back into October 15th, 2025, where President William Samoei Ruto signed 8 bills into law just before the announcement of a very big news. You getting it? Now, one, it was the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Amendment Bill, Land, Police Service, Virtual Assets and Privatization Bills. So the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act was seen as one that was trying to curtail the freedom of speech and expression online. The dead cat effect is that the timing of the bill coincided with other major national news which diverted attention from the controversial aspect of the law. Which news was this? The announcement of the passing of former Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga. Now, people began focusing on the passing of Raila Amolo Odinga and not the bill. Understand? Such that even those who were bringing up the issue of the bill, it was seen as a lesser news as compared to the death of Raila Amolo Odinga. Now you would ask yourself, why did the president wait for these to happen for him to sign those bills into law? Yes, he was waiting for a major thing that would distract the populace from focusing on the bill. Instead of addressing fears of political misuse, the government framed the bill as a measure to protect children and ensure national security, redirecting focus from free speech concerns. That is how the government operates. Now, the county allocation bills, November 2025. Now, these bills like county additional allocation bill and capital markets amendment bill unlocked billions of shillings for counties and public activities. That is what they were saying. Now, the controversy is that the economic hardship and public dissatisfaction with government spending was still topical. Now, the dead cat effect is that while emphasizing on these development and funding for counties, it shifted public discussion from economic criticism to the benefits of the new allocations. The governors who are fighting the government could no longer do so because now monies were to come in their ways or in their county government accounts. And by the way, speaking about this dead cat effect, like I've said, it is about shaping perception. I know from the mountain, we do say we cannot bury an elephant with its tusks. True? Because that is money. But remember, as you attend those rallies because of either 200, 500, 1,000 or even 2,000 shillings, the perception of other regions, while seeing Mount Kenya region, which is highly antagonized with William Samoei Ruto, an area that is considered slippery for the president, yet you appear in numbers in those rallies. The perception of the other region is that, wait a minute, if this person we are fighting by saying one term is being received like a king in that region, what about we? Then it seems like the populace have decided it is a him. So that kind of perception, to him, it is a win. Unless we get this kind of civic education to the grassroots and people get to understand that all the government does, in every situation it finds itself, it's a diversionary tactic to make sure that they lead the day. Like right now, we have these leaders from Luo Nyanza who are trying to rally people to support President William Samoei Ruto by saying that they have been given CSs in broad-based government to Opiyo Wandayi and John Mbadi. Yet, when you go to the central region, which is considered the opposition now, they have 8+ CSs and PSs, So, in this case, who is being taken for a fool? You have the answers. Anyway, that was my explanation for the dead cat philosophy for today. What's your take? Give me your thought in the comment section below. If you love content of this nature and you are watching from our YouTube channel, consider subscribing and pressing the notification button so anytime that we are live or we upload content of this nature, you'll be the very first person to be notified. Ahmed Halvi is my name for the Unscripted Talks here in Dab Radio. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuhu.
Kwa timba kali za Afrika, Dab Radio ndio mpango mzima.